Technical difficulties. Hang on. Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural show. We're having just a momentary technical difficulty kind of thing going on, so I hope that y'all guys will bear with me while I try to fix quickly one of our streams that has failed, and I don't think we'll be able to do it from here. So, oh well, that's all right. We will not be live on Rumble today. Anyways, I'm glad everybody's here again today. I can see the room's filling up fast. Appreciate y'all guys being here, and feel free to put in the comments where you're watching from today. If you're watching from whatever state in the United States, put that. If you're watching from another country, put that. Like if you're out there in Denmark watching again, or in Australia, or wherever you're watching from, please drop that in the comments and I'll pop it up on here. We've got a really, this should be an interesting show because we're going to talk about a taboo subject, or one of them, which is, look who's our guest, our supernatural guest from yesterday. Jesus Freak Computer Geek is here, and we appreciate him being here today. Thank you, brother, for watching today. We're going to talk about the taboo subject of a little bit of the Vatican, and we've got a supernatural guest with us today, and it's appropriate because his name is St. John, and so St. John is going to talk to us as well about the Vatican. We're going to have a little bit of discussion with that, and he's going to be commenting along the way as we get into that. And Dan is here with us again today, and Dan is going to be giving us the overview of some of the history on the Vatican, and then we're going to look at a lot of photos and ask a lot of questions. We may or may not have all the answers, but we're going to ask a lot of the questions. And of course, she's wide awake and perky today. We've got our co-host Shannon here with us today, as normal, and we want to welcome her. But before we really get going and chit-chatting and talking and all that, I want to show y'all guys what I will call the photo of the day. And y'all guys can submit your photos as well to be on the show where we can show them. This is a photo I'm going to pull up here in just a moment, as soon as I can get it to pull up, that I took yesterday during the show. I had this, for whatever reason, that I never do, was an urge to go outside during the middle of the show. And I'm like, it felt weird, but I just listened to it and went outside. And when I did, I got well, I'll show you what I got. Let me share the screen here. Show you when I looked up what was in the sky above me. And let's see, where is it at here? Let me share my screen. Did I do that yet? Let me see. Okay, yeah, here we go. Okay. So here is one of the images I took. And you kind of have to say, well, you can see a lot of things in the clouds, but we were discussing kind of this subject. Actually, we were talking about um, the image of what we're actually looking at here. Now, I asked some different people what they've seen, and some people said a dragon, and some people said a horse. And I can kind of see both. But when I first went out there, I seen it, and you have basically right here, as y'all guys can see, you have what looks like either a dragon's head or a horse's head. And over here, and you can see this really good in the sky. It was so much more clear. You can see a trail of smoke coming out of his nose, and you could see that he was running. That's what it looked like. And then we had this, what they call what is it? I'm slipping my mind. No, the colorful thing in the corner of the eye. You know how, of course, the background of our show has the supernatural resurrection sign, which is the eye that the sun can make. In the right conditions, you can see a full-on eye, called a full sun halo. And it has an eyelid on it. And as the sun comes up above the horizon, the eyelid is almost completely closed. But as the sun moves closer in on us, which is more appropriate to say, as the sun moves closer in, the eyelid itself opens up into when it gets up higher, its eyelids are fully open. But in the corner of those eyes, you have what's called sun dogs. That's what they call them, sun dogs. I always find the use of that word interesting when they're referring to things in the heavens, because it's spelled backwards, it's God. But you can see the little rainbow piece here. I have some more photos of that. Let me pull up a couple of more of them. What I was seeing yesterday. Let's see. Here's a closer one of the head area, so you can kind of see a little bit better on that. Yeah. So you can see the head. This is kind of like the jawbone of the horse or the dragon. And you got, of course, the eye here and the snout coming out here. And then you can see the smoke coming out of the nose. It was literally a stream, and then it rolled out in front like that. And you can see the mane back here. Now, am I saying that this is a horse or this is a dragon? No. What I'm saying is this is what I went out when I felt for some weird reason I should go outside here in the middle of the show, which I never do. I told Shannon, handle it for a minute. I went out, and this is in the heavens above me. And it even had the corner of the supernatural eye. This is the very edge of the corner of the eye that you see when you see a full sun halo. Let's see, I got a couple more, and then this is a pretty good one. You can see there, you got the back of what looks like the horse. You got his legs coming out here. And it actually even looked more like a horse running into battle before I was able to get my camera. It started, it starts changing and stuff. But I'm sure you can see that. And I just found that very interesting. And y'all guys can come over on the website if you'd like to share your photos, whatever kind of photos you might take from time to time. You can come here on the website and come down to TSS, which means the Supernatural Show, pick or video of the day. And when you come here, you can there's several categories down here, or 2 categories. You can put in your picture, your information, and you upload your photo, or you can even upload a video as well if you want to, or send a link to a video if you've seen a really interesting supernatural video and you want us to know about it. Come here and submit it. It's just that easy. Go to TheSupernatural.show. And I can tell I need water already. All right, so let me show you one more photo of that. it was from a different camera. And let me grab it here, and then we'll move on. This is it right here. Yeah. Now this one was from an iPhone, and you can see, of course, the dragon horse thing, and you can see the smoke coming out of his nose over here to the right. Okay. And what was interesting too is on the iPhone there was an orb that showed up, an orb, angel, whatever you want, call it, that showed up here in the upper right. And I don't know if you can see this line, this curve, this arc right here. If you can see that arc or not, but that arc was very, very interesting. There it goes. So you can see a little bit better now. But it had an arc that was running right across it. Yeah, when you look at this other part here with it and everything. You mean the orb area up here? You mean the orb area up here looks like a sickle?
Yeah, it looks like that might be like one of them skits, like how they cut the wheat in the shaft.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I don't look and take things for granted anymore. And when you go outside and you see something this perfect looking up in the heavens, and you don't never go outside there in the middle of a show and just leave the show, and you go out there and this is in the heavens, and you're talking about the white horse and the red horse, and you go out there and there's one in the sky, what are you supposed to do with that? You're supposed to ignore it. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. So anyways, that's our photos of the day, guy. If you want to submit yours, just go here to the website, thesupernatural.show, and submit your forms or your photos and your videos. So now we're going to get into the taboo. Mr. Dan, Miss Shannon. Let's see, how should we start? I guess you got anything that you wanted to say up front, Shannon?
Just that, growing up Catholic and actually going and visiting the Vatican when I was in about second grade, there's just a lot of just crazy symbolism, a lot of stuff that's very questionable about the Vatican in itself. And, it's supposed to be a Christian establishment, but it's pretty much its own little country, its own little estate. And, interestingly enough, when I was out there, which I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you before, Daniel, but when I was out there visiting with my aunt, they have this market that they have every week where they sell things that are blessed by the Pope for exorbitant amounts of money. We're talking food, plastic, items, rosaries, your everyday items, socks. I mean, anything you can think of, they're out there selling this stuff, saying it's blessed by the Pope, so they can mark it up 3 to 4 times what it's worth, at least. And I mean, people go in droves to just buy this stuff thinking, oh, it's blessed by the Pope, so I'll be blessed. But to me, I feel like it's, they put some kind of demonic energy within these items that you're paying an exorbitant amount of money for, that you're putting in your home or in your body or all of that kind of stuff. And I just thought, they have so much money as it is. Why do they need to go selling a bunch of items supposedly blessed by this guy to put in your home?
It reminds me of food that you see in the stores that has been, what's it called, kosher. It's been supposedly blessed by a rabbi. The weenies that are made out of, well, we don't know what weenies are made out of, but anyways, they blessed them.
Right. Well, they have a specific type of prep too for the kosher foods.
And it's twice the price, of course, or 3 or 4 times, that kind of thing. But it reminds me of that. Okay, so now I think Mr. Dan is going to give us some background, historical information on the Vatican, and we're going to go through this, and we're going to work our way to some supernatural stories from St. John as well. But St. John, you're welcome to chime in with conversation in reference to this subject matter as well, brother. So, but Dan, take it away, brother.
Okay, I think I'm going to modify some of what I was originally intended to bring forth. But one thing that I wanted to go to was back to Constantine. And Constantine decided to build what he called palaces. They were kind of like walled forts. He built 4 of them. He built one in Rome, which is the Vatican. It was originally his palace, St. Peter's Basilica. Another one in Trier, Germany. Another one in Jerusalem. Another one in Constantinople. So the thing is, when we get to the Vatican, we have to start understanding where its roots were, and it was from Emperor Constantine. He also was the one who headed up the Council of Nicaea in Nike, a town named after a Greek goddess of victory.
Nike.
So
Yeah.
the whole point being is when we start looking at abstract things, it started out abstract. In fact, the statue of St. Peter that people for 1,000 years were come there to pray against was actually a statue of Zeus. He just renamed it. It still is there. They moved it around the side when they built the new one in 1948. So when we get to seeing the abstract things that are going on there, understand it started out that way. The other one that he built, the one in Jerusalem, is where the Holy Church of the Sepulchre was. Now, the palace part was left, but Saladin destroyed the outer wall. But that's where one of his palaces are. And from there, according to what is written, his mother went out to try and build up morale and went to where they were building these palaces to hand out money and encourage them to hurry up and get this stuff built. This is where the legends come in. When she got to Jerusalem, they say they captured a Jew and made him confess, and they dug up the cross, the nails. In fact, the 3 magi, which we know had already returned, but they have 3 bodies and go in a odd-shaped casket in Trier, Germany, of these magi. Also, the crown of thorns. And she brought all this stuff back. So when we start looking at foundational stuff, I just wanted to lay a little of the history to what it is we're looking at, where it came from, and who initiated it.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I appreciate the background information. And what we want to do is make sure if anybody is out there that's maybe Catholic or considers yourself a Catholic or was raised in the Catholic Church, what we're doing here today is not trying to attack you or your local church or your beliefs necessarily. We're really not trying to do that. What we're wanting to do is ask questions and shed some light on some truth behind this organization that is one of the most powerful organizations in the world. They're the largest landowner in the world. Just to give you an example of how what their financial ability is like, because they've got churches, basilicas everywhere, all over the planet, and those buildings themselves are an interesting discussion because they're designed. The literal design is in the image of a woman laying on her back, and the doors that you go in that are crescent shaped like that are Visca Pisces. They're the point of creation. It's the It's the vagina of the woman, the image of the woman that you're walking into. You're walking into the birth canal when you walk into a basilica. And if you don't believe me, or if you're maybe a little insulted, that's not what I mean and how I mean it to you. I'm just telling you the truth. You need to research it and try to understand that these things are the truth. And I'm not saying that just because they designed their church in the image of a woman laying on her back and with walking in through the birth canal, I'm not. It's just truth. It don't mean it's an insult. And we're going to show you other truths today that are not intended to be an insult to things that you've been taught since you were a child. We hope that you can understand that and just consider some of the things that we're going to show you today, because we do have some interesting things to show you. I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to look at some different things. If my computer will quit messing up and everything going white, I would appreciate it if it would do that.
You know, an interesting thing to note too is there are 3 different districts throughout the world that are considered to be like their own country. They're like something completely different than where they reside, if that makes sense. I know there's an actual term for it, but I can't remember right now. But the Vatican, it's considered to be the world's spiritual head. In England, in the UK, that's considered to be the world's financial head. And then here in the United States, in what they call the District of Columbia, right? The White House, that whole area, that's supposed to be the world's military head. And they all do work together. And it's interesting how throughout history, the Vatican and the monarchy of England has had financial hands and also backings within certain assassinations, within certain coups, you know, like different types of takedowns in different countries. They've all kind of worked together to create those situations from happening or happen. God, I'm not having a good day with my words today, guys. I apologize, but if hopefully you understood what I was trying to say. They are all financially and with their power backing a lot of the worldwide events. And even in my own family, we have letters from both sides giving money and the power and authority to assassinate and take down certain government factions, you know, back in the Lincoln days and things along those lines. So it's just kind of an interesting thing to note, the amount of power that the Vatican has.
Yep, absolutely. I just wanted to show a couple of photos real quick related to what I was saying a while ago.
I think it's interesting that you're bringing up the Notre Dame. Back in 1991, I was 16 years old, and I was actually standing in front of that Notre Dame, and someone was trying to commit suicide with an attempt at jumping off of the church. You know, but we're dealing with a multi-layered psychological operation. I mean, when did I read inside of any of the Gnostic books or the Bible itself that we needed to have organized religion in order to have, you know, what was promoted through his message? Like, it never happened. So somewhere somebody said, well, Constantine, like Dan was talking about, somewhere somebody said, let's organize this thing and we'll control the masses with it. And that's exactly what they did to us, guys. It's horrific. You know, I was raised Catholic. You know, I had confirmation and all that other stuff. And that's not how I got my nickname of St. John, just for the viewers that are watching. They gave me that name because I was riding around in the city of Philadelphia in a limousine named Angel, and I was helping people. homeless vets, people with mental health issues, people with drug and alcohol issues, and they gave me the name St. John. So, like that was a nickname. It has nothing to do with Catholicism. But I was raised Roman Catholic, right? My mother tried to put me involved with this, Sunday school thing and, try to give you the gist of, what Christianity was about. Well, I got news for you. I did not learn anything about true Christianity from the Roman Catholic Church.
Amen.
And I'm not trying to speak bad about those that did, but on a personal level, like true confirmation for someone like me is like seeing that horse in the sky today, Daniel. Like it's the same type of horse that I have like in the background here with the samurai on. It's a wooden, like his head's pointing down, like I'm just saying, like confirmation is like when you see something that's supernatural occur in your life and you witness it and it came from God, that's supernatural. That's confirmation. For me, communion, based on what they taught us, is one thing to eat the wafer or whatever, right? But like here we are now having this discussion about higher level spiritual things, right? Whether we're talking about our actions or the actions of the enemy, right? We're still talking about higher level communion is us gathering together to have that type of discussion.
Mm-hmm. Too, historically speaking, the Vatican, the Roman Catholics were the ones behind the Spanish Inquisition, all of the witch hunts back in Europe. And literally, they would just absolutely torture people in horrific ways for them to confess and all of these things. And how is that Christian? How is that of Jesus, of the Father, by torturing people inexplicably to get them to confess something? And we're talking, just mass murder in the name of God. That's not my God that they are doing that with. I'll tell you that right now. And you just look into the history of even a lot of the stuff in the Middle Ages, or the Dark Ages, all of the torture devices and things they had, those were designed by people in the Vatican, by supposedly holy men. And it's just absolutely horrific that what powerful people in position will do in the name of God to cause harm and horrible things to people. Sorry, going on a rant again.
I think it's the way that it's always been done. It's
Right.
to do horrific things and claim it's for God. And of course, it's the exact opposite. It might be for a God, a lower God, but it ain't for the Creator, because the Creator is love. And yeah, He did create all these things for purposes that we can't understand. But yeah, it's not. There is no way that killing and murdering adults, let alone children, or fooling people into going into wars and battles just because two different rich men want some entertainment. It's just insanity. Now, I wanted to show you guys this image. This is Our Lady, Notre Dame, that the one that caught on fire, that they claim which they set the fire. In my opinion, but I do have quite a bit of proof. The day of the fire, there was a TR-3B sitting in the sky right above this place. I actually caught it on a webcam from a building that I hunted down. That's just slightly away, but you could see this. And the video of the webcam had a TR-3B, which is a triangle-shaped craft that has access to energy weapons and things like that. And I'm sure they set the sucker on fire themselves for a ritualistic purpose. They're burning down the woman. See, the name of this building is Notre Dame. It means Our Lady. Okay, so this building is named Our Lady. So what is this lady doing? She's laying on her back. This is her legs up in the air, and this is her where you go in the front door here, all three of these front doors are in the shape of a Vesica Pisces, which is what's called a point of creation, what I call it, point of creation. It is where there's lots of things I could get into about it. We're going to keep it simple for this situation, and that is that it's basically the vagina of Our Lady laying on her back, and she's looking up at the stars. And this rose window here is the clitoris, the torus that is on a woman's body, that is a point of energy, frequency, and this rose window, of course, is symbolism for the clitoris. It's just truth. It's not me trying to be vulgar or insultive, and I hope nobody takes it that way. It's just the truth. That's how they built this. It's called Our Lady. And if we look at another picture here, you can see, let's see if this is it. Yeah. So this is the side view. Okay. And here you have the body running out here of Our Lady. Okay. This area on the building right here, if you look at it from above, well, you can see it right here. It's like ribs. Okay. They run all the way down both sides of the building. You say, well, those are just support beams. Sure they are. And then you have this what do they call this? The spire. Yeah. The spire here. And that is in the place of where the heart is, basically. And inside of this building, this basilica, up at the front up here, at the very front of the building, is where the pew is at, or the, I don't know what they call it in the Catholic religion, but it's the Holy of Holies up here at the front of the building where the head is. That is where, in most churches, it's like that. You know, they have the congregation, you come in through the front door and you go all the way in the back is beyond the edge of the steps, is where nobody's supposed to really go up there unless they're the priest or they're the preacher or they're the whatever, because it's considered the Holy of Holies in the church. But inside the church itself is also considered to be the holy area, which is back in this part of the church here. So this is symbolically, the point is that it's a woman laying on its back. You got to ask the question of why. You know, that's a fair question. Why? And I don't know if anybody here in this panel has that answer. I mean, I could speculate as to why, you know. But then also I want to mention, we got a lot of things we could get into, but the word Catholic, you know, if you take any word and you start breaking down the syllables within the word, you normally will find out what the true meaning is. A lot of times you have to go back to the Greek or Hebrew or Aramaic, but normally a lot of times it's Greek to find the real meaning of the word that you're trying to understand. Like they call it Catholic. Okay, well, it's just Catholic. That's what it's called. No, there's a reason. Just like that building built the way it is, there's a reason for it. So cath is interesting because it's talking about cathode. You see, and if we look at this building again, you see these rose windows, you might call it, okay? These signify, they're called a toroidal, it's a 2D image of a toroidal field, or a cathode field. You could call it that as well. And they signify the energy, the resonation, the frequency resonance that is in the building, that building produces, is how they design the frequency that's being shown. Is, what's the word, Shannon, when they use like water and salt on a vibrating plate? Cymatics?
It's kymatics because
Kymatics.
it's Greek, but a lot of people pronounce it as cymatics, but it's called kymatics.
Yeah, kymatics. It's what it is. It's a secret that they don't tell us about. It's how all things work and flow in this world. in this world. Literally, the word world is the true spelling of world when it comes to the world we live in, because you can see the image of heaven and earth actually on this building. It's these images like this right here, the rose window. It's how a flower develops. It's how uh, a thunderstorm spins. It's how a hurricane spins. It's how our world operates as well. And I spell that WHIRLED, world, because it's a world. It's the same way that God spoke and created our world into existence, is with his voice and with his breath. He breathed life into us. He breathed and spoke the life, the frequency. When you breathe out and you speak, it creates a toroidal field in front of your face. Every word you speak is creating a toroidal field. Boom, boom, boom. Every time I'm saying it, it's happening. If you have, I demonstrated with a video the other day where people are using the vapes to show their breath, and it's easy to see, like a smoke ring. If you can blow a smoke ring, that's a toroidal field spinning. But going back to the reason I'm talking about this is the cathode itself. It's based off of the way energy flows and works in this world, based off of a two-polar system, a positive and negative. And you might notice, like in these images here, that they are showing how this works, and they're showing it in water. And why are they showing it in water? Because we're in water. You say, no, we're not. We're in air. Air is a thinner fluid, but it is a fluid. You can feel it. You can blow it on your hand, and if you blow it hard enough, you can blow your hand away. If you could blow that hard. But the point is that the whole world that we're in is a fluid. It's like it's not unsimilar to the fluid that exists when a child is being developed and born. They are in their own um, toroidal field. It's called the what's the word for the
Amniotic.
well, no, the uterus. Yeah, the uterus. It's the uterus. It's a torus. It's the same thing we're talking about. The way a torus works is based off a positive and negative energy flow that flows in the image of all things, which is heaven and earth, just like the water going down your toilet. But they know these secrets, but they don't tell us these secrets. But they know a lot of other big secrets too, and we're going to get into some of them as well. Like, how many secrets are being shown here in this image? This is part of the right by the throne, you would say, inside the Vatican.
In St. Peter's Basilica.
Yep, exactly. You see how this image up here at the top is in the shape of an egg, which is the shape of a toroidal field, which is the shape of the heavens. You see how that is? It's complete egg shaped, basically, or shaped like the crown of your head. And the energy flows even in this room. The energy would flow in a toroidal movement in this room because all things work like that. You see these poles, how they're twisted here, running up? Those are toroidal indications of toroidal. It's like the eye of a storm, like a tornado or the eye of a hurricane. See, they know it, and they're showing it through their symbolism. They have four poles here, four toroidal imageries here, holding up whatever this monstrosity is. I'm not intentionally really trying to be disrespectful, but what I am intentionally trying to do is ask questions and show and ask, why are they hiding all these secrets? Why? Not only that, why are they hiding the secrets? Let's go over here and look at some other images.
Too, not to sidetrack, but
Yeah,
they have a mass every year where they literally sing that Lucifer is like Jesus. It's in Latin, but it's talking about Lucifer being, at the dawning of his creation and all this stuff in Latin, and then they get the people to repeat it, and they usually have it in that area that you just showed in that picture, but they're singing to Lucifer.
They are.
Once a year.
Most people say that's just crazy. Well, okay, if this doesn't have anything to do with Lucifer, why is their telescope that they have, this one right here, why is it called Lucifer? That's an acronym. Okay, they say that's an acronym, and each letter is a word that has to do with the name of this telescope. But it just happens to work out that it's the acronym for Lucifer.
Right. That's what they do with CERN. It's Force or Nunos, but they're like, no, it has this scientific meaning, we swear.
You know? So you say, okay, well, they changed the name supposedly to Lucy. They shortened it, right? But then they're still calling it over here, and this is just on Wikipedia, the alternate name is called First Light. Okay. Well, what is also Lucifer known as? It's like these are reasonable questions that should be able to be asked because their telescope is named Lucifer. And if you're for God, why are these things going on? Why? Let me pull up a folder I have here with a bunch of images in it. Let me show you some things there. You would think if you're unaware of this, and a lot of young guys are aware of a lot of this information, but we have to keep continuing sometimes to come back to this stuff and talk about it. Let's look at, let's see here. Let's look at something pretty obvious first. We got all kind of different videos and images here, but I want to get one that's easy to see. Let me open this one for a second. Let's rotate that. Okay, so this is the top of the building, okay, at the Vatican. And what's this building called, Shannon?
It's called St. Peter's Basilica.
Okay.
Or which basilica means crowned serpent.
Right.
Okay. So why does basilica, this is in Greek probably?
Yeah.
Dan? Is that Greek?
What, basilica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it means crowned serpent. So what do we have right here on top of this building but a crown? And what do we have right here but a diamond-shaped head that's underneath it that looks like a serpent? So you got crowned serpent. Let's see if our theories hold weight.
And Daniel, a diamond-shaped head is a viper.
Right. Absolutely. Let's pull up. Let's see if we're right. Because if we're not right, we don't need to be saying what we're saying. So basilica. Okay. Basilica. And let's look up Greek translation and see if it's in Greek meaning. I get it there. See what we got. Kingly or royal. This is, of course, you have to look a little bit. Kingly or royal. Okay. All right. And Notre Dame is considered to be a basilica as well. Let's see. Royal Palace, feminine of Basilicos, Royal King. So it means crowned serpent. Let's keep looking here, because I would imagine it won't be easy to find a true thing. We might have to look at what? Let's look at the seal. It's interesting to me that the word Ba is at the beginning of the word. Ba, like Baal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first hint right there, is the word Ba being at the beginning of it. Boy's name Greek. Byzantine Empire. Um, Sometimes it's not so easy to look this stuff up when you're live, because research and stuff takes a while. But I think it's fair enough to say that because we have an image here that we were just looking at, that is in the image of a serpent, that it's a fair enough question to assume that there's a reasonable question to look and think, why is this in the image of a serpent? Now, if we look at it from a little bit bigger perspective, if we go over here, let's go pull up this here. No, not that. Let's load this. This is a 3D model of what we're talking about here. Let's let it load here, and this is the basilica.
I believe there's a serpent called basilic or basilica. Basilisk. Basilisk. There we go. Yep. Fabulous lizard-like creature. So Basilicus. It's another derivative of basilica.
Basilicus. It means what?
It means fabulous lizard-like creature. From Latin and from Greek, it is derived. Name of a king, name of a kind of serpent. Also, the golden-crested wren, literally little king, diminutive of basilis.
Is that screen that you could share, Shannon?
Maybe I was looking it up on my phone because I was trying to use my other screen and it was making the camera blink out for some reason. But
well, give me then what to search for. Spell it.
Basilisk. BASILISK. See, I'm struggling.
One word wrong. One letter wrong.
Oh, it's right there.
Okay. Okay.
I find it interesting that it's pronounced, even though the spelling may be a little different. It's pronounced the same. So, if you say the word, it has the same meaning. So,
So here we have a serpent that is named Basilica. That is what the serpent is named. So therefore, I would say that's pretty strong evidence confirming what we're talking about there, which is good that you were able to find that, Shannon. Sometimes we aren't quite prepared on certain things when we start talking about things because we don't know what we're going to talk about.
Daniel.
Yes, sir.
Scroll back down just a little bit.
Okay.
A little further. There you were going. There was one that I just wanted to bring up. Looked remarkably like your. Well, be a good one. Look at that picture to the left. Didn't that look like your cloud?
This one here.
Go up one. And now to the right. That one right there.
The one in the middle right here.
No, the one next to it, to the left of it, that one right there.
No.
So that one there?
Yes, sir.
Well, certainly that has similarities. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it was either a horse or it was a dragon, basically that was up there. The image of it. Now I know most people would say that's crazy. Daniel's saying he sees dragons in the sky. I didn't see a dragon. What I've seen is an image of a dragon. Now, do you believe God is all powerful?
Oh yeah.
Do you believe that God has the ability to manifest things and do things on a moment's notice? Do you believe that God has the ability to speak to us in a quiet voice and give us thoughts? I believe all those things. So therefore, the possibility of why I was told to go outside, which I never do, and I listened to it because I've taught myself to start listening to things better. Um, so yeah, it's very possible. That's pretty close. It ain't far off of
If
it.
you guys don't mind, I'd just like to throw in here. If you look up the that word spelled that way uh, in the Wikipedia, it actually states in there the etymology of the word. Like I'm a rootist. I always like to look, the origins of a lot of stuff. So it says in the etymology of the word for the spelling that Shannon gave us, right? It
Uh huh.
says the word originates from Greek form basiliscos, right? And it pronounces it in Greek, but the Latin version of it is spelled exactly the way that they spell it for that church.
Right.
So that's very interesting. And it says, which means
You said
little
that's
king.
you saying that's on Wikipedia?
Yeah. So yeah, just that word there. You don't want to have that other plum.
Okay. So
And
then let's just search that word and see what we get. Okay.
Hold on just a second, guys. I have to step out for
right
a
there
second.
where it says the
Okay.
etymology. You see where it says young rule?
Etymology. Yeah, right here. Means where does the word come from?
But it's exactly the spelling of the same word. So like a lot of people like to debunk some of the things we say, but there's the connection. That's where it actually is. So
It says the word originates. Let me I can magnify this a little bit. I think so viewers can see it better. Here it goes. It says this is the etymology. It says the word originates from the Greek form basilikos, Greek, in other words, Latin basilicus, which means little king, little prince, chieftain, or young ruler. From two components, basilis, king, and iskos. It was also considered to be as synonymous with the cockatrice, which is a serpent. It's the biting serpent, which is in the Bible. They call it a cockatrice. It's a serpent.
it's just very interesting that they attribute the word king, but it's the lesser king. It's like the world king, not the higher king that we, you know. I think it's interesting that
I think it
I'll
is interesting.
point that out.
Absolutely.
So
Um, so we've shown that there are serpents named with this name. We've proven that. So let's go ahead and let's look at. Let's see where we were at here. That's one image here that we can look at and look at the building in a few different ways. Let's see what this allows us to do. This is just a 3D imagery of the building and how it's designed. And I have a bigger one too that we're going to look at. But this is the building, and you can see that it is a serpent, a long serpent, of course. And it's when we look at the next image we're going to see here in a minute, it comes out of the river. The very end down here is coming up out of the river. So it's coming out of the water, and it has this toroidal shaped uh, area here in the middle. Let me spin this around here so we can, so we can see this end a little bit better. So we have this toroidal area here, which has a
Obelisk.
tell us about that obelisk, Dan.
That is the original obelisk that they brought over from Egypt. Used to sit outside. This whole design that you're looking at, the encompassed area and the where St. Peter's Basilica sits in Karnak, to become a pharaoh, you had to go into that temple that was there. This was built out of the legend of Isis and Osiris. Osiris then was chopped up by his brother Horus, thrown into the Nile in 13 pieces. When Isis came back to resurrection, she could only find 11 of the 13. So she had this, his genitalia could not be found. So she had this same obelisk, that very one, built. And the legend goes she impaled herself on it and was able to bear a child. I forget which one, but the Roman emperor had it moved to Rome, and then when he died, the Vatican had it moved there. So that's the actual one, and it is still the same distance from the Vatican as the temple was in Karnak. The outer rim represents the womb. Of course, the obelisk is cephalic, and when that shadow touches the here would be St. Peter's Basilica, but when it touched the temple in Karnak, then Osiris would transform his power, and Pharaoh could consider himself a god. This same structure is set up in Washington, D.C. with the Washington Monument in exactly the same shape and accomplishes the same thing.
Yep, I believe that is correct, basically what you're saying there. I'm looking for, I don't know where, a few videos that I had put together for this. I'm trying to locate them. I want to see the video really of the new Christmas tree that they put up and how they're showing a triple helix. Instead of a double helix, they're showing a triple helix, which apparently might have something. All this stuff ties together into the bigger story, of course. Let's see, where else could it be? What did I do? I don't know where it went. Dang it. That's okay. We can still show what I really want to show. So let me back out of here real quick. And let's go to the next bigger version. I'm not sure if this is it or not. Let's load this and see if this is it. Because I want to show the whole complex. And there's one of these that shows the whole complex. And then we're going to take a look at some areas within the Vatican, some photos of that. And then after we get done with this, we're going to then go and St. James is going to tell us some of his supernatural, St. John. Keep doing
St. John. That's all right, Daniel.
I'm sorry, brother. That's the second or third time I've done that now. All right, let's see here. Does dead air make anybody nervous? Or bored? Okay. Let's see what we got. Yeah, this is the one I'm looking for. So let's open this up. And let's back out a little bit. Let's turn it like this so we can see what we got here. Anybody know much information on this star fort that's here? What looks like a star fort anyways. Because it comes out of the Vatican here, and it comes down straight down this main corridor here, and then of course into the water is what we're basically looking at, as you can see. And let's go ahead and close back in on here, and we can look at it from above.
Daniel, wasn't that the original ghetto?
Say again, Dan?
Wasn't that the place of the original ghetto where they had the Jewish people put in, had to have that star sewed on their clothes, and where it was in a fenced-in city?
I can't confirm nor deny that. That's why I was curious about it. I never have taken the time of researching this star that's here that they've got.
No, it was supposed to be within eyesight of the Vatican, so the Pope could ensure that they couldn't kill them. They just stripped them of everything, put them in the ghetto. They had jobs. They could come out and go to work, but they had to return back into that area. And it just looked like it'd be an eyesight, so that would be what I assumed it was.
Right. All right. So why is the serpent associated with the names of the buildings, like the basilicas, named for crown serpent, which is, we've done proven that. Anybody want to speculate as to why that is, while I'm looking for some other images here? Let's go back to,
or photos of the
here's
church he had.
let's take a look at a couple of images here. Not that one. I want that one closed. This one. Now, there is, inside of the Vatican itself, there's actually, as you can see, we're back to the toroidal spin of the serpent. Basically, this is a I've got different images that we can look at of this, but this is the stairwell that is inside of the Vatican. It is a double stairwell, meaning it has two sets of stairs going up and down. It's in the image of double helix, two serpents wrapped around a symbolic pole that's in the middle. You have at the top up here, this is the window that's at the top. And again, this is a toroidal image. And you have the symbolic pole here. And down in the bottom, you can see there's another pole down there and it's a pail that has water in it normally, down at the very bottom there. So again, we've got imagery that looks very much like, serpent type energy. And of course, you got all this garden imagery and stuff on here as well. Let's look at some of the other photos that I've got. Here's another photo of that. I mean, you talking about having some money. I mean, money is not an issue, but yet they still do the things like Shannon was talking about, selling stuff that's worth $5 for $500. That kind of stuff. But you got a double helix toroidal image inside of the building. What secret is there to be seen? Why is that? You've got this thing outside as well that we've talked about a bit in a previous video, and some of the things that are in the side of the building over here as well. But what's up with this golden orb? Kind of like the golden orb that the Queen carried with her. She would hold it in her hand. It represents basically the egg. It represents the fertility, the life of the, and yet this egg here looks like it is a mechanical wheel within a wheel, which is a description of Ezekiel's wheel, which is of an angel.
Looks like the Death Star.
Looks like the Death Star. A lot like that as well. So why do they occult these things and not tell us what these things mean? There was another one of these same things at this location that I'm sure most of you are familiar with what this was. And there was another one there at that location that got partially destroyed.
Yeah, that's remarkable. I've never seen that photo before.
Wow.
Yeah, I had this in some files from a long time ago that I went through. looking at all the pictures I had that were related to some of this subject matter. This orb. What they're symbolizing there is creation. It's it's the it's like how we're talking about a toroidal image or the shape of a ball or a shape of the apple. It's an image of creation itself because that is the image that we live within, like the toroidal field that I keep talking about so much.
Do you also remember the very strange throne sculpture that they had created when Pope Benedict was in power? That they, I believe, had an audience hall where the Pope would sit in the middle, and it's supposedly called the resurrection or ascension of Christ.
Oh, you're talking about that big statue?
Daniel's
yeah,
actually
he's
put that up in previous episodes.
Yeah, I've got that right. I've got it right here.
The image in the middle not only has like human attributes, but serpent type attributes.
This one you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of all the things I could design to represent Christ,
Right.
Looks like
this would not be it. I'm just saying, this would not be it.
Yeah. Exactly. This looks like somebody just got destroyed. Is this their image showing that they're destroying Christ in the current place and the time that they felt the process that they were at and trying to go back to the garden and remove Christ from the equation and put man and woman back together again?
To me, it's like somebody rising from the pit, this is like the abyss and not Jesus, because
I've got a few more images of this as well. Let's see here. Here you go. And you can see the ceiling has that same cymatic or kimatic kind of thing going on with showing the frequency flows and everything. And then, of course, this, whatever you want to call this thing, is up on the stage, and the Pope sits here in this little chair area right here.
Mm-hmm.
He sits here in front of this monstrosity. I mean, you'd have to be the worst artist in the entire world to use something like that. Another photo I wanted to show is this thing, this other monstrosity.
And I'm also trying to find the photo I have of all the different clergy hats that they wear. And, it's quite telling with the different hats determining the power that they have in the structure of the clergy. We're talking the Ku Klux Klan type attire, the Dagon God fish hat, yarmulkes. I mean, you name it. They're different symbols of the power structure within the religion.
Are you familiar, y'all guys familiar with what the like Baal or the Baphomet or some of that imagery of looks like? And if you look at this image here, you have to kind of forget for a second that you're looking at what you think you're looking at. For some of you, I know the guys here, all y'all guys know what I'm probably going to say here, but for other people out there, if you look at this and just kind of forget what you're looking at and just look at the overall structure of what you're seeing here, you could say that this right here was kind of like an eye, and this is kind of like an eye, and this is an ear over here and an ear over here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So eye, ears, you got a mouth here, You got a nose. I mean, basically what you're looking at here is a goat. And above the goat's head is a flame. Now, let's see, what is it called? What's the image called of that goat-like thing that they use for anybody know what I'm talking about?
Baphomet or
It might be Baphomet.
is-
I think I spelled that wrong. Yeah, I did, but it fixed it. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, yep, that's exactly what it is. Okay, so let's see if we see any similarity between this and that. Let me just pick, I guess, let's just do this one here. Okay, so if we bring up that, and you look at this, and you got this thing going on, okay, and you see the light that's the fire that's burning above his head up here, right? Okay, so the Baphomet, an androgynous creature, has hoofs like a goat, of course, the body somewhat of a human, and then the head of a goat, and it's got what's that star they're called, Dan?
The rim fan. Well, that's a rim fan. It's 6-sided. This is a 5-sided pentagram, only it's inverted, pointing to the direction that it is pushing power against.
I think it's a pentacle when it's right side up, and a pentagram when it's upside down.
Yes, ma'am.
So then let's leave this up here, and let's pull that image I just had up there back up. Where did it
throw in there a little bit of intel about that pentagram situation. They have the different elements associated with it. It's earth, air, wind, fire, water, and spirit. So like that's all the things that are incorporated with a pentagram or pentacle 5.
Right.
So my question is okay, let's pretend like this ain't a goat. Okay. Well, then let's ask this question. Who, now I know they have a name of this throne, but who is this throne built for? Because this is a seat right here, of course, way up here, There's a seat there, and this throne is huge. I mean, so who is this throne for? When is who's supposed to be coming to sit there? And it's so tall and it's so big. It makes me, of course, think of. Well, let's look at a couple of other images here. Like, let's see.
Maybe they're going to use jetpacks like what we're hearing about going on down there in Brazil. They'll fly up to it and land on it. I don't know.
Right? Here's another photo showing it just from a little bit further back. But, I mean, you're talking...
There's no step or stairwell or anything to that, right?
No, there's not. You see these things down here, this is how tall a normal human would be. You see the table down here?
Mm-hmm.
See the candle on the table there? And then you got to go way up yonder to the seat. And there's no steps. It's basically for someone to come here, and that's it's just very odd, and I just don't get it. But then if we look at these other images, like let's see here. Well, let's just look at this one. I mean, there's a door for you. Well, you say, oh, it's just a small door, but it's a big door, actually. This could easily be removed and allow for the whole door to be used. But maybe that's not the best example. Let's get another one, like this one here, for instance. Did they do this just because they had so much money they figured they would spend it on making doors that were 50 foot tall? I mean, because these are close to tall people here.
There's a lot more truth behind the giants of the stories of old than what we know in this, in our reality today.
Well, what kind of crazy are you talking? What talking about giants? That's crazy talk.
So I just found something interesting as I'm trying to look for these hats, right? And one of the large black brimmed hats literally is called a black Saturno hat. Just thought I'd mention that.
Black Saturno? Oh, Saturno.
Saturno hat. And it's black. Thought that was interesting.
But how is it that they're able to fool so many people with such obvious questions in things tied to the serpent and tied to Lucifer, and yet these people still walk in the church every day and give them their money? They pay their 10 or 20 or whatever they're paying at the Catholic churches percent of their entire life, and they take it serious. A lot of Catholics are very devout, and they take it very serious. And I'm not here trying to necessarily disrespect that, but I can't, with open eyes, ignore these very strange things. It's one thing to have big doors on a building, but it's another to have the place named the King Serpent, and then have your telescope that you've got named Lucifer, publicly known. I mean, is that a little strange to anybody else? I think so.
You have a picture of Lucifer Chamber?
Lucifer Chamber?
The Lucifer Chamber?
Well, I can see.
What I'm gonna look for.
I can see if I can find one. Lucifer Chamber?
Lucifer's Chamber in the Vatican.
Let's see. Went to DuckDuckGo on this one because a lot of times, if it's, are you talking about the theater? The theater thing? That was the other thing. I didn't really show it.
I think that's audience hall, but I think he's talking about Lucifer's Chamber, which is an underground place. That's one of the things I was looking for. But the internet doesn't want you to find things that are important.
I had
the Vatican's basement. You got it.
And Shannon, what was the name of that hall that had the actual viper's head, fangs, eyes, and all?
The audience hall.
The audience hall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's this one right here.
But Lucifer's Chambers, that's literally in the basement of the Vatican. Those were the pictures I was trying to find earlier that just don't want to show up on my internet, on my stuff.
Why is the screen not updating like it should? Okay, well, maybe it's working now. Okay. I pulled up Lucifer Chamber, Vatican. If you see what you're looking for, let me know, Dan. This is photos reveal what's beneath St. Peter's. Well, let's open that article.
I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't find it, and I've seen these pictures, several times over the years, and I could not. It's like it wouldn't let me look for it. But it's in the basement of the Vatican. There's like a whole underground huge basement with many rooms. And
here's the Satanic Temple. Put this up at some capital. I'm not sure which capital, but put this up, and of course here's your horned goat. The way the throne was built for the goat. And you know how all these celebrities like to call themselves the goat. They call it the greatest of all time. is the acronym supposedly, but it's actually reference to this being here, with the fire burning above his head, just like we see with that star on his head again.
Dan, are you referring? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Daniel.
Oh, you're good, buddy.
Dan, if he was referring to the one with where it's got like the skull and crossbones, and there's like a image of some kind of a skeleton hanging out above on the roof. Is that what you're talking about, Lucifer's chamber? Because I think I
John, I think so. It's been a while since I pulled that up.
Does it
but
have
I do know that
of Lucifer, like on a horse?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
There you go. Oh, you found it.
I did.
You did.
Like
this, which one am I looking at here? This one right up here? Hang on. This?
Yeah, I think that's the one, but
this is supposedly underneath the Vatican. They
Right.
found it when they were digging and stuff. Look at some of these pictures here. Underneath St. Peter's, they say. Crypts and all kind of other stuff. Oh boy. There's a bunch of crypts. That's what those are in the wall there. Well, they like to keep the bodies, don't they?
They have an actual tour called the Vatican Necropolis Tour. So you could see all of the death and dead stuff underneath.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a fun place to hang out.
Well, I went on that tour when I was a kid and got lost in the catacomb part for a minute. It was kind of scary, my mom there.
Well, what all do you remember about your visit there, Shannon?
I remember quite a lot. One of these days we'll talk more about that, but I don't want to take up the whole show on my crazy time in Rome.
All right, well, whenever you're ready, Shannon, that'd be fine. So, anyways, we wanted to, kind of point some of this stuff out today here on the show and make people think about it that have not had the opportunity to really critically think about what this powerful organization is doing, and then why is it that they claim to be for God, yet they worship like a female serpent, it seems like. I mean, because everything that they do is related around that. They're certainly related around, let me show you this real quick too. And then we're going to be going to St. James here in just a little bit, unless I call him the wrong name again.
St. John.
You get my rod of iron.
It's all right. I've been called much, much, much worse.
Okay, so
I'm gonna leave your name up here.
Mother Mary. Okay, let's look at an image of this. And I imagine this is another thing that someone as a Catholic should consider, and ask the questions as to why they do this kind of thing. So we're all familiar with the general image of, what is this called? There's another name for it other than Mother Mary.
The Madonna.
Virgin Mary and Madonna.
Okay. Let's see. I thought I might have seen a picture there that's okay. Let's do Madonna.
Now, everybody knows about the problem with the pedophilia in the Vatican stuff and everything. And that all goes back into the Kabbalistic roots in which it derives from. And, you know, it's all kind of connected in that regard. But literally, that's one of the biggest trafficking establishments that you could possibly think of. What they've got running around the Vatican, through the waterways, underground tunnels, all of those things, but that's all, you know, based off of Kabbalistic practices. So, you know, and even the goddess worship, the Virgin Mary that they go off of is all based off of, you know, not just Isis, Osiris, and, or, you know, that whole trifecta, but it again goes back to the goddess worship of the Kabbalists.
If you take the picture of Mary with child and put it right next to the picture of Semiramis and Tammuz, you'll have the exact same picture.
Exactly.
You see here, this is what I was looking for, the Virgin Mary's picture. Okay, so this is the one on the right here is the one that, you know, most people would, Catholics, whatever, would be. You see, she stands on the moon. Okay, so if she's standing on the moon, if this is true that this imagery is related, because she's always in this Vesica Pisces, and her head's always, you know, of course, right up here, which is symbolized by the clitoris, as you can see in some of this other imagery here. And then she's standing on the moon. Well, what is right below the vagina? The moon, our butt, you know. And none of this is intended to be in any way, shape, or form vulgar or anything like that. It's just, it is the truth of what they do. Just like I said, they're basilicas. When you go in the front door, you're walking through something that has a Vesica Pisces shape just like this. And what it is, part of it is that they know the knowledge that I'm trying to share with y'all guys, the viewers out there. They know the knowledge of the point of creation and the power of the toroidal field that is associated with it. And they know a lot of this, but then yet they somehow choose to tie themselves to the serpent and to Lucifer. But yet outwardly they claim to be for the creator God. And I just, somebody explain it to me, you know, as to why this is the case, why they do this. This is just some other imagery that's related to the Catholic thing. There's a statue of it's a Catholic statue at a basilica, and they've got your Mother Mary with a vagina.
Well, and too, her standing on the moon, again, this goes back to Kabbalistic roots. The goddess worship they would, you know, ensue. The goddess was the moon, and the sun was the god. It's referencing that same old goddess worship of the moon goddess that the Kabbalists would worship.
And it also reminds me as well, I can't ignore the fact that it reminds me of the woman clothed in the sun with the moon under her feet, 12 stars upon her head. That's the same type of imagery. Thank you, Susan. I hope you're doing well, Susan. I appreciate all your support over time. Thank you very much. But yeah, you know, that's obviously a similar image, same creation, same type of imagery is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
So
right.
I'll throw in there my 2 cents. You know?
Okay. It's your turn.
Listen, the average person walking around today, the average person has not experienced the childbirth process, right? Of course, women that are mothers have, right? Mm-hmm. And whoever was in the room. but it's like it's this veiled thing that occurs, right? Like they don't really want you to see the process. They don't want you to know about the process.
They'll even veil it from the husband and try to keep the husband above the veil,
Right.
from the head and everything.
Right, and of course, like we know what they do to a baby the moment it's born. Like they inject it with all, it's constantly attacked, right?
Yep, attack.
Moment.
It's even attacked before it comes out the womb. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll say this, right? So like a lot of the imagery associated with the Mother Mary, right? That we were just looking at, I would think that a lot of it has to do with a sexual connotation, like there's some kind of like they wanted to minimize the power of the feminine in some kind of way, where it's not about, caring or imagination or intuition or nurturing. It's more about sex, right? Does this make sense? I don't know. Like, that's just my 2 cents. I would think that they're trying to rob us of our divine feminine attributes that we all have as individuals, like, right, left side of the brain.
Well, I know they're trying to go back to the garden. I know they're trying to get rid of the feminine side and combine it back into Adam, so that there's only one.
They don't want us to care about anything except for what they tell us to care about, right?
Right. See, they symbolize that, what you're kind of talking about, and what I just said, when they had the Twin Towers in New York, which we just seen with the gold orb there that got messed up and stuff. When they brought down, those are the Twin Towers. That represented the feminine and the masculine side, the two towers. They brought it down. What did they do? When they put it back up, they twisted it into the 2 buildings, and they twisted them into 1 building in a toroidal fashion, just like the Tower of Babel. And so, again, what they're doing is the same thing they've tried to do time and time again, is they're trying to battle with God and defeat God, is what they're trying to do. When you say Dan?
Exactly. His whole goal is to place his throne above God. So he has to find one thing that was stipulated in the Bible that was a lie. Then he wins. So whatever he has to twist, manipulate, castigate, whatever he has to do to get one thing changed, then he wins. Then that makes our king a false king, and he wins.
Now, question about like Notre Dame, right? Considering it's called Our Lady, and that in My Pet Goat, right, it was destroyed, and then in real life it was destroyed, and they're reconstructing it. And to me, it's like a symbol, like it's symbolism of taking down the old way of life and creation on this earth, on this plane, and reconstructing it into their new species, their new race, their new way.
They believe.
Remember, the whole thing with Eve. The whole thing with Eve was she was the multiplier of the seed. You taint that, you taint the seed. And what they're doing now is just simply trying to prostitute the multiplier of the seed. They get it, try to twist it together where men are women and women dress like men. It's all about prostituting the multiplier of the seed.
Absolutely, Dave. Absolutely.
Yeah, that does appear. It's like, see, ultimately what they're doing is the whole thing is told in Genesis. There's so much there that you don't realize until you see a bigger picture. But, it talks about the tree of knowledge, not supposed to touch it or eat of it, these kind of things, or you'll die, this kind of thing. And, of course, that original sin was done, and then there was man and woman, and then they were kicked out of the garden. And then now you've got these people who think that they're as smart as God or as powerful as God, and they are trying to literally dethrone God in order so that they can live forever. Because they want to go back. They're angry that they're trapped in a time prison, just like in the beginning of the I Pet Goat video, Shannon, we were talking about. It has the goat trapped in a box, right? His head stuck out the hole, which is symbolic for the female reproductive system. It's stuck out of there, and he's mad. And because where's he at? He's in a concentration camp. It's got all the barbed wire and everything there. He's trapped in a time prison, and this is what they feel, is that they're trapped in a time prison. And instead of gaining eternal life by the way that the Father has told them, no, that ain't good enough to get eternal life that way. That ain't good enough. No, what we're going to do is we're going to do it our way, and we're going to dethrone you and take over heaven. I mean, how much gall can some people have? But these people have it.
Well, it also represents the cube of Saturn, which Chronos, or all of that's Father Time. That's the one who keeps time. And they believe transhumanism is their answer. They could just upload their consciousness and God's not going to find them and still take them for judgment within the transhuman mindset. I just, I'm like, you can't hide from God, guys. I don't care.
I truly wonder how many times they've tried to do this. We know of at least a few times when God's had to destroy everything, or we know of like the Tower of Babel. We know of the flood of Noah. We know, if you look at the world, the earth itself, there's signs. Even here in America, there are signs to me that say, let me give you an example. The American Indian. Okay, where's their lineage from? Okay, why do they look?
Absolutely, Daniel. Okay. Absolutely. They've been robbed of their lineage.
Up from Mexico, but why do they look like Egyptians?
How many of these people and cultures embrace the concept and the person of Christ as it was presented to them correctly? Imagine
which Egyptians are you asking about?
Well, that's a good question too. I'm not identifying which Egyptians because there are many different types of Egyptians, but I just noticed, I was doing a bunch of research one time on the Grand Canyon and stumbled over a lot of the cave systems down there and some of the things that were found in the caves, and there were Egyptian artifacts, but they had been there for time immemorial down there. And even in the canyon itself, there is what looks like pyramids that are older than the pyramids in Egypt. So what are you doing with pyramids in there that are older than the pyramids in Egypt? How many times has this world went around? How many times?
YouTube. Steve Quayle sent a expedition down into Mexico, and one of the things they dug up, which all three of the items they dug up predate pre-Adam. One is a pyramid that looks like it's probably about a foot at the base, and on the bottom is instructions on how to build it.
Right.
How did the Egyptians get on this side of the Appalachians here in Tennessee?
In addition to that, just as you were speaking about the towers and the cathodes with the water going through, the same exact concept was utilized with the pyramids in a lot of places on our planet as well.
Absolutely.
There's some kind of an energy source or some kind of a enlightenment process or ascension process going on there.
Just like Tesla's tower, and it's kind of tied. Reminds me of what me and you were talking about the other day, Dan. That's on an episode of Beyond the Veil on the website. Our audio conversations sometimes, and that is we talked about the pyramids, remember, and we were talking about the king's chamber being empty. And did they try in the past to use those pyramids to generate enough power so that they could allow a deity to come across the veil and to be housed inside of that toroidal field that exists around the pyramids. When that water flow, that current, it's all about electricity, when that current is flowing and creating the power to that pyramid because of the way it was built, the mathematics and design, because it's built on God code, is what it is. It's built on master code, our master, our fathers. But they're trying to, we speculated that they may be trying to build a chamber for a king.
Like an early CERN?
Huh?
Like an early version of CERN?
Yeah, exactly. An early version of the star in the bottle at CERN. That's right.
So I'm going to jump in a little bit here. I'm going to jump in because
it's your
viewers,
time.
Your viewers don't really know me, and I think we're doing them a disservice by them not knowing me. Well, you got St. James written in the title description, which is hilarious. But let me tell it to you guys this way, right? And for those that are watching this as a result of, because they follow my work and now they're being introduced to you guys, right? Let me just put this out there. Daniel Alexander, Logic Before Authority, Idaho Picker, way back, way back, right? We've been watching you. We've been paying attention to you because discernment within our hearts, right? With logic, using esoteric, not exoteric principles in our lives, right? We come across these things and we say to ourselves, something's different here, right? So when somebody's speaking truth to you, the one thing that I learned being in and out of the mental health field, the drug and alcohol field, in and out of prisons, jail systems, working on both sides of the fence all these years, right? The one thing that I do know for a fact is that when truth is presented to you, you cannot deny truth, right? Truth, when it's presented to you, you can't deny it, and it's going to become part of your fabric, right? So when I came across your work, sir, I was presented with truth, and it was obvious. Not only was I presented with truth, but I was presented with someone who had due diligence on investigating what is really going on behind the scenes with all this stuff.
What in the supernatural is going on? Right. That's right.
What in the supernatural is going on, right? And then, like, the other aspect of it is, and I got a lot of respect and mutual admiration for you, is because you are utilizing technology today to reach the masses. Like, we don't have that. We need that. Everyone who is involved with our tribe and what we're doing, right, in opposition to what those other clowns are doing, right, the agenda providers, right, that we have to utilize the same tools and resources that they use, right? But some of the stuff that I've come across over the years with your work that's helped me immensely, deep underground military bases, the investigations involved with that. IPEC GOAT 2, the investigations involved with that, right? Also, like, I'm going to just share my screen for 1 second here, right? So,
like actually, the tunnels up under all the Walmarts.
I don't know if it'll work, but for me, the main thing that was important was not what was right and what was wrong in the situation, but the information, right? Because we come to our conclusions based upon the information. Only your heart's going to tell you what's right or what's wrong, right? Some of the stuff we've been presented with over the years, it's an exoteric view, right? There are major psychologically advanced psychologists, right? And I'm just going to pull this up here for 1 second so that you guys can see. Okay, so this is from one of my presentations on my YouTube channel, the word psyche, and what it actually means, the actual definition of the word psyche, right? It says 1640s, animating spirit, the human spirit of mind, from Latin psyche, from Greek psyche, the soul, mind, spirit, life, one's life, the invisible animating principle or entity which occupies and directs the physical body, right? So that's soul, right? We don't have that information readily available to us. They cast a veil across us and they dumb us down as much as possible. Okay, so when we see things like this word and its true original root definition of the word, right? Now, think of all the times we hear the word psychology. We hear the word psychoanalysis, right? We hear all these different psychological approaches, psychiatry and psychiatrists, right? All these different uses of this word, right? So working in the mental health field, I've made it a point to point out to the masses what's been going on, like what the truth is. Okay, so one of the things that you might want to take part in is the investigation of snowmed.org, right? So snowmed.org, SNOMED.org, right? If you spell it backwards, it actually says grow demons, right? But what is snowmed.org? It's the international organization that creates all the medical billing, all the medical terminology, all of the medical, everything that has to do with the medical field, from definitions on out. It all comes from this organization called snowmed.org, right? So, like, when I came across your work, Daniel, and I saw what you were doing, right? You've always kind of like fed my spirit in a different kind of way, right? With the investigation of things, right?
Right.
So I actually had 2 near-death experiences. We can get into that in future gatherings between us, right? But, like I've had some life-changing, soul-changing, earth-shaking things occur in my life, right? So I was running recovery houses in the city of Philadelphia after I had a couple years clean, because what I found was when I was helping other people, my life was improving. The lives of those around me were improving, right? Which was like a great experience, right? I found all the ways that didn't work, medications, different types of therapies, different types of institutions and ideologies, religion, all these things I tried to my earnest because I did not want to live the same self-centered scumbaggery ways that I was living in my life, hurting my family, hurting my loved ones, hurting my community, feeling like I had a total loss of control of my actions and behaviors, right? So by utilizing this simple concept of care, right? The hidden principle in the Hermetic principles that we spoke a little bit about in this broadcast, like you got the 7 Hermetic principles, which they utilize against us as a weapon, a psychological weapon of our reality they use against us. They created all these ideologies and religions, right? And here we are now, and we're like trying to figure it all out. And we have this great use of the internet where we can find certain things. Like they're on the cusp of shutting it all down on us, but we're on the cusp of discovering it all, right? So like I say that because I named my website and everything that I do behind my work, I call it the Lost Principle, which is the principle of care, which is actually a translation of the Latin word genere, which is to create, to care, right? Which is actually the G inside of the compass in the square for Masonic practices, right? Now, I'm not no Mason. I'm not here to promote any of that crap. But what I'm saying to you guys is that they've always had and flaunted the truth of our existence in our faces since the beginning of humanity, right? So, like, I'm here and I come across this information, and I was early on in my recovery process, and I said to myself, the more I seem to care about something, the more change and effect seems to occur, right? So I named my website behind it. I kind of like captured all my actions and principles behind it. And I would love to be able to come back on your show and share things like my near-death experiences, some of my supernatural experiences that occurred over the years, right? But also, like we're talking about the Vatican here. So I want to just put this out there. And this is like crazy, man, because my mother just passed away last month. And I know a lot of people want to say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, all that stuff. That's great. But here's the thing. Like, she knew the truth like I know the truth. You know, she didn't walk around and talk and act the way I do, right? But she understood the concept of we are eternal. We are eternal beings, right? But she was explaining to me some stuff over the past year that I was like really involved with her, like really hanging out with her, having a lot of fun, right? She was explaining some stuff about the let me stop sharing my screen. She was explaining the stuff about our lineage, like in who we are as a people, like me and my brothers and sisters and my cousins and nephews and nieces. We actually had city in Italy named after our family. It was called Carlatini, right? And then come to find out, if you go further back, we actually had the last name of Palermo in my family, right? Which also that city Palermo was named after our family, right? So we were actually wrapped up with the Vatican Church in my genealogy, right? So what made us get away from it? Well, love made us get away from it because my great-great-grandmother fell in love with my great-great-grandfather, and he was Protestant. And they didn't like that, right? They didn't like any of that because the mixing of one ideology or religion with another, you know, that shot it all out of the water. You know, so they had to actually run from Italy and hide from those people who would persecute them for crossing those lines. Now, this is the thing that I've learned about walking with Christ, right? Is that I can go anywhere and I can do anything. I can hang out in Native American drum circles. I can participate in all kinds of different activities and events. As long as I have good intention of heart and I'm walking with Christ, I have nothing to fear, right? And this has been my experience. But, you know, like you've talked about in your show a couple times, you talked about some different things. You said the word intent, right? And just for your viewers, like I just want to put this out there so they can really, really understand what I'm talking about here. The foundation of our realities as individuals, as we go through this soul, you know, expression process on this dimension, right? Our whole experience is based upon our intentions. So if we have good intentions, we usually have a good reality. Now, if we have bad intentions, you know, my personal experiences, I've been everywhere from dead twice to inside of a jail because of my actions and behaviors. Now, I don't frown upon anybody for whatever their particular beliefs are, as long as their intentions are in alignment with the greater good of others. What does that mean? Not to harm one another. How about the golden rule that Christ tried to teach us, right? Do unto others as we would do unto ourselves, right? I can't harm you and expect good things to happen for me. It doesn't work that way. These are just simple, basic things. And I just wanted to convey to your audience, you know, like what my spiritual practices look like, what my spiritual belief system looks like. You know, I found out about the word religion, you know, religio, which means to bind, to tie, to hold back. You know, like when you trace these words back to their origins, they don't have the same meaning that they've been, you know, misleading us in general population. You know, like the mass media, lying, everything's a lie, man.
Everything's a lie.
Yeah, it's
and
also
I don't want to take over and take your show hostage or anything. I just wanted to convey those things so that, you know, people are looking at me on the screen with the wings and stuff. You know, technology, guys, is going to be the solution, which helps us get the message to the others, right? Because the essence,
using the intention of using this technology, because all this technology is the technology that came out of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And they said, surely you'll die if you start messing with this knowledge, because man can't seem to resist himself into being carnal and wanting to use things that can create power to abuse it. And God knows that, because He created us, and He knew that if you go messing with this stuff, you gain this knowledge, most likely you're going to destroy yourself with it. And what do we see going on there? Using this technology to try to destroy us. But here we are using the technology for good intent, for the good side of the tree as best as we can. We're doing our best. And yeah, I apologize, St. John, because I really I went a little bit longer on the Vatican part, but that is such a deep subject.
We have to.
So
no, guys, we have to.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as soon as you're available again, I'm going to schedule you right back on the show again. And so you'll have a true opportunity more, because I really do want to hear your full testimony and your full explanation of supernatural things that have happened in your life, because I'm trying to mold and find the right mix of format with what I'm trying to do, here and everything, because it needs to be dynamic enough that it holds people's attention, but it also has to meet other requirements. And so, because like, for instance, you said it earlier, I am known for investigating, right? In this show, do I provide investigative knowledge? Yes, but it's not as thick and strong as when I do stuff like with Logic Before Authority, or back when Out of Pickwood was a thing, right? But so I have to figure out a way, because I only have so many hours in a day, but I have so many days in a week, and I have to figure out and allot myself time to continue to give people what they really like about my ability, which is I can see.
That's
I see, I can see the true nature of things. And I'm also learning and trying to understand additional gifts and anointings that I have. And the more I pay attention to them, the more they manifest. And it's surprising, to be quite honest with you. But we all need to be doing that, because we're not just simple clay. We're much more, In Dan's case, we're more than a conqueror.
That's right. We're more than victorious. That's exactly right. And, they want us to feel like we're less than. That's their job, to make us feel like we're less than. Well, guess what?
We're nothing.
We know the truth. We walk in truth.
But they're wrong. And there's people out there, a lot of people like you, like everyone here, like me, and like many of the people watching right now, that are starting to wake up and realize that we are more than what they led us to believe. We're not just a grain of sand on the beach, and there's millions of beaches. We're not that. We're not, that's a lot of times why I think they told us that we are, with the whole NASA thing, they told us that, we're this grain of sand inside of this huge bowl of sand, and we're just one grain of sand, and the whole grain of sand is the earth. And then on that earth, we're nothing. We ain't even an ant. We ain't nothing. It's not true. It's not true. We are all things, because we have direct connection with our Father in heaven, and we have all access to attempt and to learn the things that our Father wants us to know, and He wants us to understand about ourselves, so that our souls can mature to the point that we truly are walking on the narrow path, and we can ascend and live forever, have eternal life. But they don't want us to know that, because they're trying to go the opposite direction. They're trying to dethrone our God. They're trying to go back to the garden, and I want the people that are watching to know that you are special. Even if you're older, Dan, how old are you?
70.
Dan's 70. I'm 54. So we're old codgers compared to Shannon and St. John. Oh, sorry. I speak for myself. I'm an old codger. But the point is we're not as physically adept as we used to be, but our mental capabilities are, in my case, as good or better than it ever has been in my life. But the not just a matter of being smart, but a matter of being in touch with reality, the true reality of our world, and the gifts that our Father has laying there for us, if we ever figure out that we've been lied to. If you ever realize that you've been lied to and that you truly are a child of the Most High, do you think if we're the children of God that we are nothing? We are the children of the most powerful thing that is of all things, that created all things, but we're just nothing. It's not true. You've been lied to. As soon as you stop believing that lie, the curse is broke. The spell is cast off. You no longer are bound. Whew. I'm about to get fired up, boys. I can sometimes feel Father speaking through me. It's a beautiful feeling.
You can feel the Spirit working through you. You know what I mean? And like this is like when I'm standing in front of large groups or running groups and seminars, whether I'm inside of a facility or now I'm like involved with this whole freedom community. I stand in front of people, people that are like never even heard of anything like what I present, right? So it's like this great experience of like you can really feel like it's almost like you feel like your breath's being taken away.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like it's a miracle. It's a remarkable experience, especially someone that was as self-centered and scumbaggery as I was earlier on in my life, and then to have these unbelievable changes occur because of the magnitude of him, not me. my best thinking got me incarcerated, got me overdosed on a gurney, and like his best thinking for me in my life is like I've been able to reach out and help people, man, on so many different levels. Like, even though I haven't worked in the industry in a while because I had to retire because of the mandates, right? Like I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to put more poison into my body.
No.
So I had to resign, right? And like a lot of people that were close to me, they couldn't understand. They were like, "Well, wait a second. You love to help people. You love working at these rehabs and psych hospitals. Like, why would you walk away from that?" I'm like, I didn't walk away from that. I stood up for what I believed in. I'm not going to let them inject their poison into me. You talk about it.
Oh,
yeah. And it's like
it's literal snake bite.
Oh, like I don't know if you see the bow, right? We know what the bow is. We talk about the bow.
Mm-hmm. The same thing as this. You grab that plunger and you pull it back and you go whack, whack. And on the end of it, it's got that thing that's in the shape of a serpent's tooth.
And the interesting
thing what it is.
I walked away from that position. I was making good money, guys. I was helping people. I was doing what I loved. But I like the birds of the air. I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't, I had my place. I didn't have a huge bank account. I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills or continue to move on with my life. But, like seeking you shall find, right? So like, by my actions and activities prior to that moment, I had built a network of people in my life that were like, "No, man, you're not going to go without money. We're going to put you to work over here doing this today." Or, someone else saying, "Hey, I can help you out with this or help you out with that." Or, and all these things just kept occurring over and over. But, like what the book says, it says, like the birds of the air, like you just don't know where your next meal's coming from, where your next paycheck's coming from. But like you yourself, Daniel, like I hear you talk on here, like we need people to support people like you, right? So that we can have this message, right? And I don't really know you. I'm not here to promote for you, right? But I'm here to promote for our truth, man, and the love of humanity. Like I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I'm very fortunate where I'm in a position today where I don't really have to, ask people to donate to me, right? But I'm not in a position where I could donate to others, which would be great if I was. I have been in the past, So like, I try to support people in every way I possibly can, especially if they're declaring victory already and they're walking with our eldest brother. You know what I mean? Like he's teaching me every step of the way.
And the way I truly see it with the donation stuff is they're giving to me, but I'm giving them. I'm giving of my time freely, and I spend every day of the week building my knowledge, working my character, working my spirituality, my gifts, and trying to understand them to help other people understand their own. And so, just like with this show here, or any show I do, or any video I do, pretty much, I always give before I take. And
Absolutely. I've seen
yeah,
that in your work. The other point I wanted to just throw in there is that people got to understand this stuff isn't free. Computers, software, subscriptions to StreamYards, like the internet bill every month, like depending on where you're at in the country, that could be anywhere from 50 to 150. You know what I mean? Like these things cost money. And like money is nothing more than a tool. I'm not gonna let them feed us. You know what I mean? So I'm going to use every tool at my disposal. I'm promoting for people who are on the same that are in the same tribe as me is definitely something that I do. So, like when it comes to technology, guys, any of our viewers that are watching, if you guys want to reach out to me individually, you can find me very easily. It's hashtag BY St. John. And you can find me on a lot of the platforms. I haven't really kept up on it the way you have because I don't like to spend the extra money unless I have the viewers there. Like it's just.
well, we're gonna have you back on very soon, St. John. I'll send you my cell phone number. I'll send you a direct thing so you can stay in touch with me via text. Oh, you might. I might already give it to you, but
put it online a couple times in the way back past, and I
saved that was actually a Google Voice number. That's the number I use to communicate without giving out my cell phone number. What I'm saying is I'll give you my cell phone number. But then we'll have you back on. We'll look at the schedule and see as soon as we can possibly get you back on. We'll get that done because I really want to hear more from you, and I'm very grateful that you came here today. And I'm grateful that everybody's here today. And mostly, I'm also very grateful that there are hundreds of people watching at this moment on various different platforms out there. And I appreciate that y'all guys are supporting us by, sharing, subscribing, maybe going to the website, maybe considering becoming a member of the website. It is something you can do if you want, and you can make sure you don't lose connection with guys like us, because the way the YouTube algorithm is working right now is it'll push more and more people out, and they'll put more and more crap in your face, and they're being like a serpent coming up on you slowly. They're like, just move this stuff out. Let's get some more crap in there. And that's what they're doing. But the way that you can break that cycle, at least in my case, and the things that I'm going to be doing is go over to the supernatural.show and become a member. Now, there is a free membership there as well. It gives you access to quite a bit of stuff, and it will accomplish the same thing. So if you can't afford a paid membership, sign up for the free one. How about that? And then you still will not lose contact. I'm going to be emailing you at least once a month. I'm going to be here very soon. I'm going to be texting people when the show's going live. If you're a member, a level 2 or level 3 member, you'll be getting a text. And but mainly, I want to say thanks to St. John for being here, and we are truly going to have you back. And I owe you a little bit of an apology for going too long on the Vatican stuff, but we're going to have you back here real soon. Miss Shannon, you have any thoughts before we get out of here today?
I just wanted to say I went ahead and subscribed to your channel on YouTube, and I look forward to having you back on and talking more with you. And I too, I'm part of the Caprioli family, so we have a little town out in Italy as well. And so it's kind of cool. Our families hung out, I bet. But anyways, I look forward to having you back on our show, and I love you all, and come back next time to find out what in the supernatural is going on. Please like, subscribe, share, and hey, have a blessed weekend, you guys. I know it's a crazy busy time, so keep in prayer, keep your, self just on track, even though the world is in chaos right now.
Control your mood and don't allow anybody to bend you. People that otherwise will attack you and try to make you angry or say things that will make you angry, choose to not let it bend you. Be the rod of iron, be the attributes of the rod of iron. Stop allowing the world and the things around you to bend you and knock you out of shape, knock you off the path. Stay on the path by choice. You have a choice as to whether to get angry, get happy, get sad, get whatever. It ultimately is your choice, and you have to learn how to control those emotions, because your emotions are power. They have powerful capabilities that we're going to be getting some more conversation about here in the very near future. But with that being said, Mr. Dan, I reckon we're going to call it a day here. What do you think?
I think it's about that time. It's getting close to dark 30.
Yep.
Would you close us out with a prayer?
It was great meeting all of you guys in person.
John, thank you for blessing us. Your wisdom is really great, and I look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you, Dan. And thank you for you prior to the show.
We're going to try to play Shannon's piece that she created called You're Not Alone. And it has to do with the theme of this program, the People Show, and the website, the People's website, which is TheSupernatural.show. But she wrote a song, and she's redid it a little bit, and it's called You're Not Alone. And we're going to see if we can get it to play and work today. Let's give it a shot.
If you feel so alone, just know you are right at home, 'cause we are here to share, and all you have to bear. Jesus brought us all here together. Everything is in His hands. Don't you worry, we're here for you. You're not alone. Welcome to the body and soul of Jesus
Excellent.
That's Amen. But
Shannon's always, I can tell she has a hard time listening to her own voice, and she's being self-critical. Something she needs to stop being. Don't allow the thought of what other people think to ever control how you feel about yourself. You do a wonderful job. The fruit of your works are great, and you should feel very good about the things you're doing. I'm sure our Father in heaven is very proud. With that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here today. We love you, and we'll see you next time here on the Supernatural Show. Bye-bye. What is going on here?